Hello again from Washington, D.C. This is Peter Thomas, the General Counsel of NAAOP. Two major developments in orthotics and prosthetics that occurred in July. The first, passage of legislation in the House that impacts the clinical notes of the prosthetist and orthotist. The second, major developments on health reform, the effort to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. First, the House bill. The Ways and Means Committee marked up a bill, and the House eventually passed the bill. That was a bipartisan Medicare package, including one provision that impacts the relevance of the clinical notes of the prosthetist and orthotist. The provision essentially states that the orthotist and prosthetist notes shall be considered part of the medical record. This is a major development, a major victory for the O&P community, and significant efforts and thanks go to AOPA for putting significant attention and resources to the development of this legislative victory. We're working on language that comprises the larger bill, the Medicare Orthotics and Prosthetics Improvement Act, both in the House and in the Senate, and we'll continue working to try to get the prosthetist-orthotist notes provision as well as the other provisions in the larger bill through the Congress. Next, on to healthcare reform. There was an extensive debate in the Senate this week, last week of July, to essentially repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. Numerous bills were brought forward in the form of amendments. In the end, none of them passed. It was a close vote in the end to try to pass a very skinny bill, they called it, which would essentially just repeal the individual mandate and make some other changes to the employer mandate. In the end, they could only muster 49 votes, and they needed 50 in order to have the tie broken by the Vice President. Now that the bill has failed in the Senate, the question is what happens with efforts to repeal and replace what they call Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. And that's a legitimate question that is not yet answered. If they had passed a bill, the theory would be that they would have kicked this process into the August recess, conferees would have met, agreed to a consensus bill, and then brought it back to the House and Senate for an up or down vote. Right now we won't know what would have happened had that occurred because the Senate was not able to pass a bill. I don't believe this is the end of this situation. I believe there is every intent to move forward, both from the administration in terms of allowing states to play a much greater role, giving them more flexibility in terms of what's covered under health plans, what constitutes the essential health benefits package, and really that's where orthotics and prosthetics is impacted. The rehabilitative and habilitative services and devices category of benefits, which is listed in the statute of the Affordable Care Act as an essential health benefit, is at risk when the states have more flexibility to carve away benefits to reduce the cost of insurance. The bill also would have, if it had passed, eliminated the essential health benefits package from Medicaid expansion states, 31 states that expanded their Medicaid programs. That's no longer a threat in the immediate future. But there's no question that that health reform will be back. It will continue throughout this year and into next year for sure. While the immediate threat to reductions in benefits for orthotics and prosthetics appears to be on hiatus, appears to have waned for now, we do expect that it will be back and we need to remain vigilant. There's also obviously many ways that the administration can impact this very issue, and that's of great importance to amputees and to the providers who serve them. So we'll keep a watchful eye and we'll continue to move as aggressively as possible to protect the orthotic and prosthetic profession and the patients that we serve. Thank you so much.